score is about 96 to 94. For the winner by way of split decision and the new WBC United States Silver Junior Flyweight Champion, Andy Dominguez.
For the untouchable, true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so this is the official Andy Dominguez versus Bryon Rojas post-fight review, and your result of the fight is an Andy Dominguez very close, razor-tight, split decision victory as Dominguez captures the WBC silver light flyweight title. This is obviously a big deal in his career because now he's going to find himself with ranking position and the ability to now, push his career forward. So really good stuff for Dominguez. Dominguez, this fight for him was very tough, obviously, because, on the other end, you have Bryon Rojas coming to you guys live and direct from Nicaragua. We know Nicaraguan fighters are very tough, and Rojas is a fighter that does not lack experience. This is a guy that's been champion as light flyweight. This is a guy that went to South Africa and upset Hecky Butler many years ago to become champion. He's also fought knockout CP Freshmart. These are names, in these lighter weight categories. If you follow the lighter weight categories, light flyweight, these kind of weight classes, these names. These guys have been there and did it, and so he's been a champion. He's a naturally bigger guy than Dominguez. Definitely the most experienced and dangerous opponent he's fought to date, and just a really good fight, man. I thought Dominguez showed bit of an evolution in his career because I've been a big Andy Dominguez supporter since 2021. I used to see Andy a good amount of times back in 2021 when he was training at the Salas Boxing Academy in Las Vegas. I was going to Las Vegas a lot. I was going to that gym a lot with Angelo Leo to go watch him spar, and that's how I found out who Andy was, and I've always been high on him since then. The last time, the biggest fight of his career, he fought Puerto Rican Olympian Yanquiel Rivera, and they produced what is one of the best Puerto Rico versus Mexico fights in a very long time. Honestly, go watch it if you haven't. But he was. If you go look at most of the fights in his career, Andy's known as a front foot dominant, volume puncher, and he still is that, but he wasn't that in this fight. He was a bit different. There was a wrinkle to his game that he added for this fight because he's not with Ismael Salas no more. In the last year or so, maybe even longer, he's made a switch from Ismael Salas to Wildcard Boxing Gym. He's there with Marvin Zamudio and the fine folks at Wildcard Boxing Gym. So in this fight, you didn't see the Andy Dominguez that fought Yanquiel Rivera. You saw a fighter that used his legs, his pivots, his volume punching, and it was a more economical, more calculated performance. And I think that's what won him the fight. It wasn't his punching power. It wasn't even his volume. It was his legs. His legs won him this fight because you have Rojas, who's naturally bigger than him, punches, I would say, harder than him. In this instance, he punches harder than him. He's naturally bigger than him. But Andy did what really good fighters do. They fight experienced, high-level opponents, and they find a way to win. So it was one of those fights, and the commentator said himself, it was one of those fights where, with it being a 10-round fight, you knew about 3 or 4 rounds in that if this fight stayed on the same trajectory, that it was going to be one of those close, potentially, 50-50 calls. The rounds very close, very hard rounds to score. I thought Andy won. I personally thought Andy won by like 2 rounds, but it was one of those like really nip and tuck type of fights. So the fact that he found the way to pull this win out, it shows a lot about Andy and where he's heading in his career. Because if you just look at Andy since that Yanquiel Rivera fight, it hasn't been easy for him. Since that fight, he hasn't won a fight by knockout or decision. He won against Christopher Rios by majority decision last June. Then he beat Angel Morales by split decision in December of last year. Then he wins this fight by split decision. So look, he's not winning in the most dominant fashion, but he's finding ways to win. And this was actually Andy Dominguez's first fight as a light flyweight since his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. he hasn't fought at light flyweight since his 7th pro fight, and tonight was his 13th pro fight. So it's been 3 years and like 6 fights since he's fought at a light flyweight. And personally, I think this is a weight class where Andy's gonna have the best chance to become a world champion, because I think at 108 that's gonna favor his size and his frame more. And you know, there's some good fighters ranked in that top 15. You know, you look at like guys like Masataka Taniguchi, Elwin Soto, one of my personal favorites, Yuga Osaki. You know, he's ranked. Jairo Noriega, who's a tough guy, is challenged for the world title. Yudai Shigioka, Carlos Canizales, who's fighting for the world title. I mean, there's some heat up there in the top 15 for the 115 division. So he 108 division. So Andy's gonna have to get better. I feel like what you know, a more fundamentally sound fighter will give Andy some problems. I think he's gonna have to pick up his hands a little more when he fights sharper punches, because if not, it'll be a repeat of the Yankee Rivera performance, and he'll be digging himself into a hole. So these are things I feel he has to correct. But I do think Andy has a chance. I think he's got a chance to go all the way and become a world champion. But big test tonight. He passed it with I wouldn't say a flying colors, but he passed it. You know, he passed the test. And from here on out, it's only going to get tougher. Now he's going to be ranked, and there's multiple guys who have already won world titles ranked in the top 15 of the WBC, which is where he's going to be ranked at light flyweight. So, yeah, shout out to Andy Dominguez, man. This is a guy that, you know, I talk to. We talk on Instagram from time to time, so I know him a little bit, and I know that you know, he's gone through a lot in his career. Inside and outside of boxing, and this is a guy that I think, you know, is developing. Like he was different tonight. He wasn't quite the same Andy Dominguez that he was a couple fights ago, and I consider that a good thing, because you know he can't be getting into wars every fight. He always didn't have a very short shelf life. So you know, I thought he did well tonight. And you know, 27 years old, I think his best boxing is very, very much in front of him. So yeah, that's my thoughts, man. You go in there, you fight a former world champion for Rojas. This was like Rojas's last gasp. Rojas has been in what, 35 pro fights, 35 years old. This is his last hurrah. So, you know, he gave the best of himself he could have possibly given, and he hasn't lost since 2018. He had been in what, 5 fights unbeaten since his last loss, a knockout CP Freshmart. So, yeah, man. Just a really, really good test that Andy Dominguez passed tonight, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he continues to develop under the watchful eye of the fine folks at Wild Card Boxing Gym. So yeah, hopefully, for me, if I'm playing matchmaker for a second with Andy's career, I would like to see him fight maybe like an Elwin Soto, Masataka Taniguchi, maybe Christian Araneta, one of them guys in the lower top 15 of the WBC rankings at light flyweight, but guys that have had a name, guys that have won titles, challenged for titles, those kind of things. I think if he wins a fight like that in his next 1 to 2 fights, that's going to accelerate him getting a title shot. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Dominguez. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe. You won't be disappointed.